Hi everyone, my name is Devika and I am your techie tantrika. I have been dying to make this video. I think it's such an amazing idea. Mind you, the last time I tried to make it, it was like 22 minutes long, and I have a tendency sometimes of blathering, and I know it's not a good idea on YouTube. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Tantra is actually available in every culture and every religion. I'm not shitting you. The concept of um, an energy system based around pleasure and intimacy is available in every religion, every culture. You just kind of sometimes have to do a bit of digging to find that. We live, unfortunately, in a society that kind of doesn't really talk a lot about our intimacy with ourselves and therefore with other people. It's kind of scary actually, because if we don't understand our own bodies and our own sense of pleasure on multiple levels, so that's like physical intimacy, spiritual intimacy, um, you know, the way we interact with intimacy, through intimacy with the people around us. So, like communal intimacy, just basically the way you interact with others, is what I'm trying to say. If we don't understand these things about ourselves, how are we going to go into a relationship and have fireworks happen in that relationship? A big part of being in a relationship with other people is chemistry, and you need to understand that the chemistry with yourself is just as equally important, if not more. So, like, if you got your fireworks going on with yourself, you could bring in the fireworks with other people, that you're intimate with and that you're in relationships with. It's like explosions. So, anyways, back to what I was saying about Tantra. Tantra is a look at this mystical aspect of intimacy and pleasure in our lives. We don't have as much discussions about pleasure in our lives for some reason right now, and um, the thing is, when you are comfortable with pleasure, you are comfortable with yourself. You're comfortable with your body, you're comfortable with who you are. This is a lifelong journey, of course, and that's what Tantra is intended to be. To me, Tantra is very much a part of what we call shamanism. This is, some people refer to as magic. Some people refer to that as um, just understanding what we don't necessarily see, just the stuff that we can experience and feel within ourselves and the world around us. Tantra unites us as people, it unites us with the nature around us, and unites us with ourselves. It makes us realize that everything's one and the same. Shamanism, which is what I was referring to earlier, just a second ago, it's used in different cultures to help with healing. Normally, when you've heard of a shaman in a community, that was not necessarily something that person called themselves, but the community appointed that person as a shaman. It's a healer. So tantrikas are healers as well. They're a type of shaman, as far as I'm concerned. They are helping you tap into the sexual and creative energy in your body, because those are actually one and the same, to unleash your power into this world. I think that's honestly one of the best ways I can describe Tantra. It's about the intimacy and pleasure you bring yourself and your life. Now, I will address three different types of Tantra that are generally discussed. One of the most popular in North America would be Red Tantra. Red Tantra is very physically based within our world. It's one of the best ways that people have found to address body shaming, sexual abuse, past trauma. A lot of tantrikas in North America are using what we learn in Red Tantra, and which includes like learning how to self pleasure yourself better, learning how to connect to your partners better during sex, learning how to be comfortable in your own skin. Like, it's all within this realm of, let's say, combinations of breathing techniques, as well as learning how to touch yourself and touch your partner. There's just a wide range of different things that are taught with the intention of healing past trauma, current trauma, and becoming more intimate with who you are, and in turn, becoming more intimate with whoever you decide to be with. So this is why Red Tantra is very popular in North America. You find people also talking about, and it depends on, the culture, I guess, that they're also coming from, because different cultures of Tantra kind of teach things a bit differently. But the idea is that, sorry, by the way, about the siren outside. But I'm on a roll here, so I'm just gonna keep going. But the idea is that you are recognizing the divinity in yourself and the divinity of anybody you are with. So in Red Tantra, we see a lot of the enjoyment of yourself and the other person, slowing things down, kind of like the complete opposite of what we see in our society, in porn, etc., right? So this is why Red Tantra has such a wonderful spot in our society right now for those who are seeking it. I do get a lot of people who come to me, for example, and right away do want tantric sex advice and that wealth of information, because I am a tantric sex and singles relationship coach. For me, however, I don't give that right away, and that brings me actually into the other types of tantra. I will mention those and explain more about why I don't do that right away. Primarily because I like working with both of those at the same time, so I kind of have a system as to how I get to that point with people. White Tantra, let's go into that next. Now, you'll find, I haven't seen a lot of this in North America. You do find this more in cultures that really still have meditation, for example, as part of their practice. A lot of Eastern philosophies, basically. White Tantra is the concept that a lot of what you can achieve in Red Tantra, you can more or less do with White Tantra. For example, in Indian Tantra, we do see a lot of, actually in multiple types of Tantra, we do see a lot of basically people bringing in deities, for example, and bringing that into their sex lives. Like, one person might try to reenact with another person the intertwining of two deities by having divine sex. In White Tantra, we do see a lot of people who are doing a lot of this worshipping of other deities and the intimacy, the desire of intimacy, and bringing in all of the same objectives of Red Tantra, but through meditation. So there are meditative practices that are achieved through White Tantra to get a similar effect. Like, objectives are pretty much the same in all forms of Tantra, bringing in more pleasure, just different routes. Often you'll even hear Red Tantra sometimes referred to as the left path, because it's also embracing the taboo that we consider in life. Not every tantric teacher will talk about the taboo aspects that are normally addressed in Red Tantra. But generally speaking, if you're looking at the Eastern philosophies for both Red and White Tantra, and even in Pink Tantra, there are the discussions about facing your demons. Like, becoming more intimate with yourself is also about facing your demons. And if you take Tantra even further, people will talk about embracing the taboos in our society and talking about everything being one and the same. This is a very Buddhist Zen concept as well. And you'll actually see this with some of the tantrics in India as well that aren't necessarily, let's say, Buddhist, but the idea of embracing everything that we otherwise wouldn't embrace as human beings. So I won't get too much into that, but because, as I said before, the idea of facing your demons, demon hunting, and breaking those demons down so that they are now an ally for you is a huge part of becoming intimate with yourself and others, and is very tantric. So I consider myself more on the pink path, which is a combination of those two. So I come from a meditation background, and I like teaching meditation to people and breathing because, as you might understand from, let's say, doing yoga or Pilates, or anything involving the changing of your breath, you'll see that there's a substantial difference in your attitude, in the way you behave, in the way you perceive the world around you when you decide to take on a very conscious breathing practice in your life. And the breathing part is always present in Tantra. We're always discussing breath. So whether I am teaching my clients like how to self-pleasure better, or how to get in touch with their needs through something meditative, like, those are all important to me. They're one and the same to me. So I can take from both aspects and see the importance in both types of Tantra, so that's why I'm kind of in that middle aspect. Um, so yeah, I would say that that's probably the best way I can really break down Tantra into those three divisions. It's such a huge topic, and don't forget, Tantra's been around for centuries. There's a lot that has never been recorded about it. A lot of what I learned about Tantra also came to me instinctively. Instinctively, I mean intuitively. I'm trying to say two words at once. Through my own meditation and my own discussion with my higher, I call that person, that individual God, through our higher selves. My discussions with that being my discussions with myself, one and the same to me. I've always been on a path of looking for pleasure in life, and, I mean, don't get me wrong, tension's important too, but you can find pleasure in tension as well. Yes, I enjoy that thoroughly. I think also, being that I am a performer as well, we also find that as well in performance. The tension of getting in front of people, making a YouTube video, being on a stage, all these things. There's that beautiful union of tension and pleasure all at the same time. It's gratifying and terrifying at the same time sometimes, I guess you could say. So anyways, if I had to boil all this down, I would say Tantra is about pleasure, about confronting your pain and finding the sweetness in life, in the pain that you've had, in releasing the things that bind us, by going into that, into facing it, to bring ourselves more pleasure. So yes, we have many practices, many tools in our tool belt to find this within Tantra, but I would say the objective would be to know yourself, know the world around you, and to bring pleasure into your life, especially in ways that you might have not been taught how to, and to really get all the things out of the way that come between you knowing yourself, between you and yourself, basically. That relationship is so important. Once you know yourself, you know love, and once you know love, you can attract amazing love into your life. So if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about, please feel free to comment. Feel free to comment regardless. I'm hoping this wasn't too wordy and that I didn't lose anything important in all of my ramblings. I do love my rambling. I take great pleasure in rambling sometimes. Feel free to like this video, and feel free to subscribe so that we can continue our journey into Tantra and pleasure and life and excitement and art and everything that's wonderful and great in between. I look forward to talking with all of you, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.